Hey, it's your boy D Mintz at Sporticus 300.
As Shawnee B.
All right, in this video, we're going to dive into some of the possible free agent landings, where we think they're going to go. Uh, we think they're going to be franchise tagged. Big things with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, where we think they're going to end up. But stick around with us, and we're going to get through this, see where we think some of these guys are going to end up. All right, Sean, starting with you. Big free agent Antonio Brown. Do you have any ideas or thoughts on where you think he's going to end up?
Well, fun fact, Eric, he is not a free agent. He feels like it, but he is on the trade market. We all know he's going to be gone soon. The question is, where is he going to go? Who has the assets that's going to be willing to give up something for him? The dude is I believe 30 this year. He is getting over that hill. He's still super productive, but at the same time, how good is he going to be? So I am thinking that the teams that are going to be interested are going to be the Jets and the Colts.
Okay.
They have the money to take care of that contract. But aside from that, I don't really know who is going to give up something big. One potential dark horse is going to be the Patriots.
All right. Well, with the Patriots, I could definitely see him going to the Patriots because you saw what Tom Brady did when he had Randy Moss. You give him a stellar receiver like Antonio Brown, it's going to be kind of crazy to think of what he can do. Definitely. I mean, Antonio Brown is still in his prime. He's going to be on the decline in a couple years, but I do believe Big Ben is a top-tier quarterback still.
You're the only one.
Huh?
I said, you're the only one, buddy.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's on the decline, but he's got a powerful arm, and Antonio Brown is known for home run balls. So it's a matter of a quarterback can get it to him. Now, a dark horse team I am hearing is the Washington Redskins, and you as a Cowboy fan, I know would hate to see that. So, but let's be honest. What team always goes out after major free agents? Big name, Albert Haynesworth. I can't remember who it was. Someone just a couple years ago, it was a big name.
Oh man, he had that name that was a mouthful if there ever was one.
But no, I know for a fact they got somebody within the last year or so. Big name.
Josh Norman.
Yes, Josh Norman. That's exactly who it was. But they're always after the big name guys because they're trying to sell a product because whether we want to admit it or not, they've got a great fan base. And they're always they do have a massive fan base. And they're always trying to sell their fan base on something. But don't forget, the team that I truly could see landing him is the Oakland Raiders. They have 3 first-round draft picks this year and 2 first-round picks next year. They got the Dallas Cowboys first-round pick for Amari Cooper. They got Chicago's
from the Bears.
From Mac, and they have their own. That's a lot of trade bait in a sense that they could. I'm not saying they would even get rid of a first rounder, but I'm just saying there's a lot there that they could offer to Pittsburgh to go get that guy. And let's be honest, what team more after a speed, kind of crazy-headed diva player makes more sense than the Oakland Raiders? Let's be honest.
But the issue is that was Al Davis back in the day. It's not necessarily
I understand that, but
Mark Davis runs it. But yes, they are known for going after the speed guys. But again, Antonio Brown doesn't have the speed that he did. He is getting older. I don't see anybody really giving up a first one. Maybe if it's the end of the first, that's why I brought up the Patriots.
Right.
They're always going to be near there.
But do the Patriots have anything worth trading per se?
I don't really believe so. I believe they don't have too much because a lot of it's tied up in their old players and some of the young guys they currently have, but nobody truly stands out, aside from big agents that they're not going to be willing to give up. And one of the things that is a potential with him and the Pats is, Bill Belichick isn't going to take any nonsense.
Exactly. That's 100%.
The question is, if Antonio Brown wants to be the man and chase a ring and win and break records. Going to follow Tom Brady is the place to do it. As much as we all might dislike the guy and everything,
do you see
he
Pittsburgh
makes the stuff happen, huh?
Do you see Pittsburgh trading him into the AFC? Do you think that plays a factor whatsoever, or whoever's got the best offer, no matter what, that's just what they're going to do?
I think it's almost gotten to the point where it's
best offer.
Yeah. Just with as.
But could you see him going to? And I'm not saying that these teams are involved whatsoever. But could you see him going to Cincinnati, Cleveland, or Baltimore? Or there's no chance of that.
With them, like I wouldn't see them giving up a first for him.
I'm not even saying what the trade, who they would offer. I'm just saying, could you see Pittsburgh dealing him into
in division?
Yes.
No. Division, no.
I don't agree.
Yes.
I agree with you on that. I don't see. They're not going to give them to Baltimore, who they're playing twice every single season. I just can't see that. I don't care what the offer. I mean, I guess if the offer is like, an amazing Ricky Williams offer, you have to say yes. But other than that, I just don't see that happening. And another dark horse team, I want to get off of Antonio Brown. Been talking about him for too long, in my opinion. But another team I think you could look out for, honestly, is the Green Bay Packers. They have 2 first-round draft picks this year as well. It's kind of interesting to see. And one other team is, and there's a lot of question marks about this team, is the Arizona Cardinals. They have David Johnson, who is a stellar running back, great receiving back, great running back. They have the first pick in the draft. But I've been hearing speculation of also them possibly trading Josh Rosen. I don't know if you've heard that, but there is speculation of them trading Josh Rosen and getting a first-round draft pick in return for him. And then who knows, with that draft pick, do they try to switch that off for Antonio Brown? And the reason they're apparently possibly going to move Rosen is apparently after last year, some people are saying they didn't feel like he was their franchise guy and they want to go a different direction. And who knows? I mean, if you get the 26th pick for Josh Rosen, whoever is giving up that 26th pick might say, we're not getting Josh Rosen type talent at that level. So, yeah, we'll deal with that. And then also they can draft their franchise guy in Kyler Murray or Drew Lock or whoever they feel that guy is.
So, I mean, one of the things you guys got to remember is Cliff Kingsbury came on. He's a Texas Tech coach. Didn't win in Texas Tech, but
bet he wishes he had Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. I mean, I told people they were sleeping on Pat Mahomes last year. I took him in like the 8th round of my fantasy draft. The dude took me so close to the ship, but not quite there.
I know.
Just because what it is.
I was playing against you. Get my butt
yeah, you were. But Cliff Kingsbury has said when he was in college that Kyler Murray is should be the number 1 pick in the draft. Now he's on the team that actually has the number 1 pick in the draft. And Josh Rosen only being 1 year, he got his freshman year under his belt. The question is, like, do they want to go away from the guy who was a prototype quarterback, you'd think? I think he was like 6'5", right. Solid weight. He's only had 1 season under his belt. Their O-line is not great. Their defense isn't that great. But you got to give them time.
Receivers, I mean, other than Fitzgerald, they don't have much of a threat there, to be 1,000% honest, either.
Exactly. So if they do essentially draft Bosa, all right, we'll say Bosa, whoever, anybody not named Kyler Murray or a quarterback with that first pick, I definitely think that their 2nd round pick, which would still be the first pick of the next round,
right,
would be something they would dangle in front of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh would probably give it a serious look because, that at the beginning of the 2nd round is still first-round talent for some people.
Right. Oh, for sure. And sometimes you have guys slip just because of drug problems or this or that, and they're not even suspended. It's just, do you want to bring this head case in? Kind of like Cleveland last year when they brought in the dude from Florida. Antonio Callaway. He was
Yeah.
apparently number one, number two receiver in the draft, according to a lot of sources, but he just kept getting in trouble with marijuana. So sometimes you just take that flyer on him and you just see if he's going to pan out. I mean, you can put something in his contract where, if you're going to screw up in that way, we can cut ties with you, or you're not getting paid, or whatever. You can put little things in people's contract to make sure they're staying on the straight and narrow. But I am
I think there's going to be a lot of guys who are going to have that stipulation in their contracts. Like David Irving leaving the Cowboys, they said they're not going to re-sign him. He's a massive, 6'7" defensive tackle. When he plays, he is great, but he has issue with substance abuse and marijuana, which we all think. A lot of us think it should be illegal. It is what it is. Right now, it's not. With that, someone's probably going to be like, "Hey, you stay clean and you'll get this money. Otherwise, you have a non-guaranteed contract," and so forth.
Right.
That's probably going to happen a lot more until that the new deal comes along with the CBA, and that's where they're probably going to fight for hey, marijuana either should be almost lessened entirely to out of the picture for infractions.
I agree. Well, as far as big free agents go, I'm just going to spit off a couple big names that I've got here on my phone. A couple big names. You let me know, and I'll chime in as well. But we'll just kind of discuss, big market for them, or over the last couple of years, there's been some big names that just didn't ever get picked up, or took forever to get picked up, and it just didn't make a lot of sense on, I guess sometimes it's age and stuff like that. But we'll just dive in a little bit, see, what we can think of as far as landing spots, or he's going to get tagged or re-signed, in our opinion. Just don't see that guy going anywhere else. He's just too important to that team. But let me go ahead and bring them in. I didn't even need to bring it in for this, but the number one on everybody's radar, obviously, you know him well, being a Cowboy fan, DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to be a Cowboy. Let's just.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
They've already reported multiple times. Jerry said he's gonna stay. They're gonna pay him well, and everybody knows Jerry is easy to open the pocketbook. He's gotten better about his spending lately. Especially with the fact that the Cowboys have, I think, 65 or something million in cap space, which is unheard of in my era.
Well,
watching that,
it's funny that you say that. Let me name the top 10 teams as far as salary cap space, because I think that does make a big difference on where we could see some of these teams. The number one team is the Colts. Apparently, they have $108 million. $108 million.
Ridiculous.
And let's be honest, they were a playoff team last year, and they got $108 million. So,
that's true.
What can they do?
Anybody.
We're going to get some of the names listed out here, but they have $108 million to go out. Number two is the New York Jets. They've got 104. Now, the New York Jets need a lot of help. Let's just be honest. They need to go out and get some guys. Now, if they can go get Antonio Brown, give him that diva contract, that's definitely with Sam Darnold. That's going to be a huge notch. With Robbie Anderson and stuff, it's not like they have a ton of targets out there, but they need to get Darnold a couple home run threats.
Look out for DK Metcalf in the draft going to the Jets.
I've actually heard about DK Metcalf.
It's 1.6% body fat.
That's ridiculous.
How? I don't know how. I got 1.6 in my right boob.
Next, we've got the Houston Texans with $82 million, which is crazy because the Colts are at 108, the Jets at 104, and then the third place team is the Texans with 82. That's a huge contract just between those that you can give and still have the same amount as the Houston Texans. Next,
think about this: those top three teams are all AFC.
Not only that, two of them, the Colts
are in the same conference, a division.
Not only that, but they're both really good teams. A lot of young, good talent. Even the Jets have good young talent. They're just not fully developed yet. I think they're third to those teams. The next team is the Bills. and they've got 81 million. Now this is my dark horse, and people can be like, this team could have been your dark horse for years, but it just is what it is. But it's the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns have $80 million, but if you look at them from top to bottom, it's not like they're lacking at a lot of places. They could use a little bit of help in their defensive backfield, I feel. But they brought in Ward out of the draft last year, and they've got Demarius Russell as well. They're definitely on the climb there. And then they had the first pick of the draft last year that went to help me out here, the defensive
Baker Mayfield.
Well, Baker Mayfield. The year before last, I'm sorry.
Myles
Garrett. Yes, thank you. But yes, they have Baker Mayfield, so they have huge future in Baker Mayfield. Do I feel like he's going to have a sophomore slump? I think a little bit. I think almost everybody kind of has that because they're still so new to the NFL. But defense have a lot more film and a lot more time to study that player. So I don't care who it is. I feel like you always have somewhat of a sophomore slump. But I honestly think that the Cleveland Browns are going to win the AFC East. I don't know how you feel about it.
Smoking some crack.
Who's winning?
Right now,
Pittsburgh's not. Pittsburgh has no identity. They got Juju Smith-Schuster, but
I'm not even thinking Pittsburgh. I think they're going to be.
Cincinnati's not. They're terrible. And
I think it's going to be the Baltimore. I mean, we're going to think the Ravens have the best defense easily.
But
easily in that conference.
I agree. $80 million to add to Cleveland. And you've got to remember, C.J. Mosley's a free agent this year. Zadarius Smith is a free agent this year.
How much is their payroll? How much is Baltimore's payroll this year?
They've got $50 million.
$50 million. They traded away Flacco.
But they have to eat a lot of that contract now.
They did. I know.
Look at this. I'm wacko for Flacco now. I never thought I'd say I'm wacko for Flacco.
I'm sure you're hating that.
To be honest, I'm actually really happy with that. We have not had a concrete quarterback since
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, but not even Peyton Manning's last year. Peyton Manning was terrible his last season. I love him, but the defense carried them completely. But my thing about Baltimore, I do agree that they have the best defense in the division. But let's be honest, how many times does Lamar turn the ball over? Lamar, he had what, 8?
He was a rookie.
I agree, but I'm not talking interceptions. I'm talking fumbles.
I know.
And I don't think it matters if you're first year, 8th year. I think if you have fumbleitis, you just have fumbleitis.
Now, you know what they said? You know what they said about Adrian Peterson when he was a rookie?
What?
He had fumbleitis. You know what happened?
Well, he got that under control. But the thing about him is,
like, he can't do. All you gotta do is learn. You can still learn how to properly hold that ball better when you're running everything. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but I am saying with that defense, and no matter who's in that defense, it seems like they always have a very solid defense, one of the best ones in that division. It depends on how well is Lamar Jackson going to hold up that offense. I still think they need a better wide receiver option.
They got rid of Crabtree. They cut him. They don't.
They still need. That's not a better option. That's okay. There's one less person going to throw the ball to, and they did well enough to where they're near the mid to end of the draft, and DK Metcalf is going to be gone. I think the top 2 wide receivers are going to be gone. I can't remember the other guy's name at the top of my head. But fun fact: maybe they'll go after Antonio Brown's nephew. I can't remember. I think cousin.
I'm not sure.
Hollywood Brown from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Not even lying. Hollywood. But maybe he'll go to the Browns.
But I don't know. I just feel that it is what it is. I think Cleveland, mark it down. Today is February 28th. Cleveland Browns will win the AFC East. I just see they have so much salary cap. They are building. And you got to remember, granted, he'll be suspended for a while, but who's the best running back in that division right now? Is it Kareem Hunt?
Wait, which team did you go to? Browns?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, yeah. But how long is he going to be suspended? Is he going to be back?
I do agree. He's going to be suspended, and he deserves to be suspended. I don't even want to get into that debate. He deserves to be suspended.
Oh, no. We're not debating. I'm just saying, is he even going to touch the field this season? We can't even guarantee that.
We don't know. But they still have Nick Chubb there, and I like Nick Chubb as a I don't want to say an every down type back. I don't think he's.
He's Nick Chubb of the world, bub. I mean, he's going to do all right, but like most Bama running backs, he's not going to do anything.
He went to Georgia.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Him and Sony Michel.
Yeah, Sony Michel is doing way better than him. You know.
But is that Nick Chubb still kind of? Is that Nick Chubb still kind of coming off his injury though?
I can't really say. I just think that offensive line needs to get better anyway. I mean, the Browns are up and coming. I just don't think they have all the pieces yet. Mainly offensive line and a wide receiver.
I think David Njoku. I think he's a top 10 tight end in the NFL right now.
Oh, I mean,
and Jarvis Landry is. I mean, he's still a stellar wide receiver. Still very young. I'm honestly interested to see if they do something with possibly going after Odell. Because Odell and Jarvis are like this, and there's been so much hype about Odell possibly being traded. Now, Cleveland has $80 million. They have a lot of young talent. They have some good draft picks. Do they possibly move any of them for Odell? No one's really talking about Odell because Antonio Brown's been guaranteed to be traded. But the Giants are kind of in rebuild mode. You know they're going a different route at quarterback within the next year or two. If not, the Grim Reaper is going to come and help them with that decision. Eli is just Eli of old. I mean, I understand he's won the Super Bowls and Eli has been a great quarterback. But, I mean, those days are far over. They need to get somebody else there. Their future is Saquon Barkley. It is not Odell Beckham. And anyone that wants to debate that, let them debate it. Write it down in the comments. But I'm telling you right now, Saquon he's an animal. I mean, he's a freak. And I just don't see. I don't want to say
Saquon or Zeke.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Who's got a better career, Saquon or Zeke?
It's hard to say because
gun to your head. Who's going to have a better career?
In my opinion, who's a better running back? Saquon. Who's in a better situation? Zeke. Zeke's behind the best offensive line in football. Zeke's got Jason Witten just re-signed today with Dallas, coming out the booth, but got Dak Prescott. They've got Amari Cooper there now. There's, Michael Gallup, we'll see. Cole Beasley's a free agent. We'll see where he ends up. I know you're going to hate this, but I think he could be a New England Patriot. I just think he runs that Wes Welker. It has nothing to do with him being a Caucasian, short little receiver. That's just the type of receiver that New England puts in there, is just those guys that like to go across the middle. And another guy I think that Dallas has that would be a great fit in New England would be Tavon Austin. You never really heard much, and somehow years ago he got a massive contract out in L.A. Rams now, but St. Louis. I never understood that offer, that contract. But what more do you really need to say other than Jeff Fisher? I mean, that dude had no clue what he was doing ever. He was about a yard short, I would say. I don't know what you think, but I'd say Jeff Fisher was about a yard short of being a great coach.
As I said, he ruined Vince Young. I mean, he ruined that career.
Vince Young, man. Was there ever a bowl game better than
oh my God. 2005 Rose Bowl, baby.
That was the greatest bowl game, in my opinion. Greatest. I don't want to get into that, but that was the greatest greatest bowl game of all time. If you haven't seen it, if you're a younger person on YouTube, go watch it. Find it on YouTube. Anything you can. Watch that. Greatest bowl game. So many NFL superstars played in that game. It was magnificent. The greatest
Some are
bowl game of
still
all time.
playing today.
Yeah, seriously. And Vince Young, I believe, if I'm not incorrect, I believe he still had a winning record in the NFL. I could be wrong on that, but I believe he had a winning record in the NFL, and he was always blasted as being this overrated, terrible quarterback. But Vince Young, in my opinion, was a great quarterback. Guess who ruined his career? Oh, you already said it. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jeff Fisher. Some dude just who does not know how to coach. Like I said, he's about a yard short of being a good coach. If you don't get that, if you don't get that pun, he lost the Super Bowl by a yard. So,
I mean, look what happened with Jared Goff. He's like, he's not ready. And look
get a
what
new
happened.
coach.
Just this last year.
Takes him to the Super Bowl.
Take him to the Super Bowl.
All right.
Exactly.
So let's jump into some of these names. Oh,
right.
Well, like I said, the Browns had 80 million. The Raiders have 74 million. 49ers have 69 million. Seahawks have 51. Bengals have 51. And your Cowboys have 49 million, which is a lot of money.
The top 10, which is first since I followed them in 2001. So I'm
gonna spit off some names. That way, if we can't get to them, because I don't want to make this video too terribly long. So I'm gonna list off some names, and then we'll backtrack to some of the names that really stick in your mind, and whether if you see the guy sticking there, just say, DeMarcus Lawrence, he ain't going nowhere, or whatever. We're going to have a part 2, part 3 down the road where we can get more in depth with some of these guys, where it's not as much of this information. You'll know the information from this video, but we do want to cover some of the big guys and where we honestly see them going. But I'm going to list off several. DeMarcus Lawrence, edge rusher, obviously out of Dallas. You have Jadeveon Clowney, another edge rusher.
Franchise tag.
Yeah, going to be franchise. Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle.
Franchise tag.
Yep. Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is gone.
This is
he's out. He's super excited.
The big name that is.
It really is.
He's actually going to go somewhere.
But the thing is money wise, what does he get? We'll get back to Le'Veon because we know he's going somewhere.
He's 27, by the way.
Yeah, I want to discuss Le'Veon because I think that's interesting. We'll get back to it though. We're not going to list it this current second. We will in just a minute or two. D Ford, another edge rusher. The Chiefs are definitely going to keep him. Yeah, Earl Thomas. I believe he's going to be gone after the way they treated him last year. He didn't want to play. He was kind of doing the Le'Veon thing, and he decided to come back. He wasn't going to practice at all. No practicing, just playing in games. And then he broke his leg or something, I believe. He was out for the season. So not only that, I don't think they use a franchise tag on him, but not only do they not use a franchise tag, I honestly see him just I don't see the Seahawks wanting to use a franchise on him because they don't know at this point what value he's even going to bring. And he's contemplated retirement several times. So why do you want to go spend that kind of money on a guy like that? But we'll get back to Earl Thomas. But Trey Flowers, I think he could hit the market. We'll see.
I think he will.
Yeah, Frank Clark, we'll see. Nick Foles, we've already heard he's hitting the market. Overrated, in my opinion. We'll get to Nick Foles, but I do believe he's, don't get me wrong, Super Bowl winning quarterback, definitely for the Eagles who had never had a Super Bowl. Congratulations, hats off to you. But I don't see him being a franchise-changing quarterback. I think he was in a fantastic system with guys that truly believed in him. When he was, granted, he was ran by Fisher, so God only knows. But when he played for the Rams, he never amounted to anything out there. Landon Collins,
overrated.
Yeah. And Anthony Barr, great linebacker. If I'm not mistaken, he's still pretty young. He's going to get paid.
But he's a 4-3 guy.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I agree with that, but he's going to be able to find the right team that wants to plug him in. C.J. Mosley, we already discussed him earlier in the video. Great linebacker. I think he gets, I don't know if he gets franchised, but I don't see him leaving Baltimore.
Yeah, he's not going to leave.
Excuse me. I just think they need him too much. You got KJ Wright, Sheldon Richardson, Tyrann Mathieu, Ndamukong Suh. I'm going to skip over some other guys that, whatever. LaMarcus Joyner, Ziggy Ansah, Zadarius Smith.
Tevin Coleman. That's going to be an interesting one.
Tevin Coleman was actually my next one. Tevin Coleman's going to get paid. He's going somewhere, and he's going to get paid, and he should get paid. He is a good running back. I think he was just in Atlanta. He was with Freeman. Granted, Freeman didn't play last year, but
Devonta Freeman.
Yeah, but he's going to get paid. Ronald Darby. Ronald Darby's a really good cornerback. He's definitely going to hit the market. He's going to get overpaid to go somewhere.
He's not going to get overpaid. He tore his ACL, so.
This is true.
Jared Cook. That could be an interesting one.
Yeah. Daryl Williams. My boy Bradley Roby. I got his jersey back in my bedroom. But he's going to hit the market. Denver's not going to bring him back. I'm pretty confident in that. We already have some other corners there, and Chris Harris. I just don't see them trying to bring back a third corner and giving him top dollar to play backup. Some other big names, you got Jordan Hicks, Teddy Bridgewater. It's going to be interesting to see who gives Teddy a shot and whether he actually gets a real shot. If I was Teddy, I would honestly hold out till you saw a quarterback probably get hurt and try to jump in there, because I think Teddy Bridgewater has all the capabilities of being a great NFL quarterback. It's just a matter of, does he get that opportunity? Another big name, you got Golden Tate. He's definitely going to hit the market. Some teams I could definitely see going after him. I see Baltimore overpaying for someone like him. It's just kind of their repertoire. They always go after these B-class receivers and offer them A-class money. It's unfortunate for him. Anquan Bolden really worked out for him there, but guys like we were saying earlier, Crabtree and stuff, it just, you can't pay those guys that kind of money. It just doesn't pan out. Not for that contract, that amount that they offer. Matt Paredes, amazing center out of Denver. I hope and pray, because our offensive line is so garbage anyways. The only other part we have is Garrett Bowles. We need to keep Paredes, but we're not going to put a franchise on a center. We're just not going to. You got Dante Fowler. You got excuse me, I'm really sorry. You got Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram, if he goes to the right system, could be a really good running back. Be a 1-2 punch somewhere. He's not an every down back, but I mean, he even showed it there in New Orleans. I mean, you're shaking your head. I guess you disagree. I know you hate Alabama, but Mark Ingram, I don't think he's a top dollar running back. I don't think he's a top notch running back, but I think he's a plug and play guy. And I think if you bring him into the right team, honestly, like if he went to the Chargers and you put him as the backup to Gordon, you have a really solid 1-2 punch there. You would have the speed and the power. Just a matter of where do we see him end up. Some other guys, Tyrell Williams. He never really, I thought, got his chance to really shine out there for the Chargers because of Keenan Allen and some of the other guys out there. John Brown, maybe one of the fastest guys in the NFL. Super fast. The Ravens, they had too many question marks at quarterback last year, so I just don't think it necessarily worked out there. But I think if he gets the right team, something could work out for him. You got Shaquille Barrett. You got Terrell Suggs. Clinton Dix.
All right, let's stop at that 50.
How'd you know I was at 50? You on the same list?
Yep. As soon as you said 1, 2, 3, I was like, all right. So just to go off of the few, DeMarcus Lawrence, he's going to get paid. He's staying. Cowboys, we know he's going to stay.
Right.
Jadeveon Clowney, he's going to stay, franchise tag.
Agreed.
I don't think they're going to do a long-term extension because they want to make sure he can stay healthy. But
could you imagine if both of their defensive studs could stay healthy?
That's a big if, man. They can never.
They never will. They never will. They're too much of animals to stay healthy.
But let's go to the first guy that we said that's gonna be a true free agent, and that's Le'Veon Bell. So the top two teams that I'm hearing is easily the Colts and the Jets. They have the most money, which is probably why everybody's hearing about him. I think he's probably going to choose. He's a show me guy, so I think he's going to choose New York over Indianapolis, even though he would be a better fit for the Colts. But I think they're also going to pay him more. He's going to get bigger money coming. New York City, baby, woo, lights and flashes.
They both could truly use a running back as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, but at the same time, so we know the Jets like to run the ball. I mean, he'll get his yards, but if you wanted to win and the money, you would go to the Colts. But I think he's going to care more about the money in the long term, which I can't blame him. Like, it's his choice, and this is going to be his last contract probably, or at least his last big contract for sure.
Yeah. Well, no doubt about that. Whatever he signs, I honestly, I think Le'Veon truly. I don't think it comes down to winning with him. Because if winning was the most important, he would have stayed in Pittsburgh. What they had built, he would have showed up and he would have just played. But it's not about that. He wants to get paid, and I don't blame him. Some people say sports athletes, they get overpaid. In a sense, yes, but that money needs to go to somewhere. Because you know what? You're wearing the hats, you're wearing the jerseys, you're wearing the T-shirts, you're buying the tickets, you're ordering the pizza that's doing the commercials for the NFL. You're watching the NFL on TV. So the matter is all this money goes to all these teams. Would you rather Le'Veon get it, who you're going to see, or would you rather Robert Kraft get it? So, but in all honesty, who would you rather get the money? Who's putting their livelihood
body
in a sense, their body on the line. In my opinion, it's the athlete. So the athlete deserves the money. Is it too much? I was in the Navy. You're in the Navy. So we know we didn't get paid enough. We deserved to make more money, but it is what it is.
That's not why we signed up.
Exactly. That is 0% why we signed up. And I'm not saying that's why Le'Veon signed up, but you know what? It's the business he's in. Le'Veon deserves to get paid. So, my thing is from all indications of the way I've read, I don't want to say the body language, but kind of Le'Veon's, I don't want to say body of work, but basically him not showing up. What I've learned from that is it's about the contract. But not just about the contract. I think he wants a longer-term contract. I think he wants to go somewhere where the team believes in him and is willing to invest in him. I think that's the most important thing to him, is he wants to feel wanted. And Pittsburgh just abused him. Pittsburgh were like, oh, we'll use a franchise tag on you. And the next year, we'll use a franchise tag. And the next year, we'll use a franchise. And eventually that hurts because, don't get me wrong, you're getting paid top dollar for those. But if you tear your ACL, you may never play in the NFL again, and you didn't get any more contracts. That's the same thing that you saw with Kirk Cousins and him going to the Vikings. Some team finally invested in him. You eventually get tired of that franchise tag. I'm not saying it necessarily worked out for the Vikings, but it is what it is. So I see Le'Veon, if you want my honest opinion, I see Le'Veon going where he's most wanted. And wherever that is, that's going to be who offers him the most money.
That's what we're talking about here, Derek.
That's what I'm saying.
Talking. Who do you think it's going to be?
I think it's the Colts.
All right.
And the reason I believe it's the Colts, I'll just get into why I think it's the Colts, is because of Andrew Luck. They know Andrew Luck is their future, their long term. They saw what they could do with the quarterback and investing in him the way they did with Peyton. And if you want to keep him healthy, you need to get him a stellar running back there. You got to keep him standing up. And the amount of plays, just imagine how much it's going to open the field for the rest of their team, because Le'Veon is a great receiving back. He's a great pass blocking back. He can block really, really well for a running back. And he's a great just running back. And Pittsburgh definitely missed that last year. James Conner had a stellar season, but they definitely missed it last year. So let's get on to the next guy, who was
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas.
Missing 2 years, $10 million each season. Dallas Cowboys done.
Yep, he's been noted to want to go to Dallas. Dallas needs him. I agree. I think he's a Dallas Cowboy. Y'all have the money to go spend. You can get an anchor at that side of the field. He definitely feels valued there in Dallas. I think last year there was a little bit of that. I think if he didn't get hurt last year, he would have ended up on Dallas last season, if you want my honest opinion. I think they would have figured out a way to trade for him. But unfortunately, he got hurt early in the season. So who we got up next?
Trey Flowers. This is tough. With Trey, he was on the Super Bowl championship team. He's an interior D lineman, or it could be a 3-4 defensive end. Okay, Cowboys. But I don't. The question is, who can use him and who's going to want him? Now, what kind of money is he going to demand?
If they let him go, I think the Jets.
I'm thinking the Browns would be a good spot for him.
It'd be great
because he'll keep his legs fresh,
right?
Rotating in and out with Garrett and who's the other A&M guy? Or who's the other defensive end?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. Unfortunately, I can't check it on my computer.
Would be.
We got people watching this video right now screaming at us. How can you forget us? Blah blah blah.
No, it's Danny Shelton from the defensive tackle. You got Myles Garrett. He was obviously 2 years ago with Jabril Peppers out in the. I mean, he's playing linebacker out there now.
They got Agba.
Huh?
Agba,
yeah.
Yeah. So, definitely keep them fresh out there.
And they'll pay them.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's what they're going to want.
And,
be paid.
And honestly,
and
if they can bring in just a couple defensive guys, like I said, they got Jamie Collins. They've got so much there already on their defense. If they can just bring in a couple guys, I mean, I really see Cleveland, because they're so young, and that community is so hungry to win. And honest to God, who could blame them? Let's be honest here.
What are you talking about? They had the Cleveland the Cavs won a couple years ago. That's good enough for them. All I know is all our teams have a certain distinct color of brown. But it's going to be interesting. They're definitely trying to make a push for once, and I think they're going to add a little bit more defense, but they're probably going to go heavy offense.
I think honestly, Cleveland, I think they're going to be very heavy in trying to get Le'Veon or something. I mean, not Le'Veon. They got Kareem Hunt. I want to say Antonio Brown, but I don't see them trading him.
They're not going to trade him in the division. That would be stupid.
They look for them to go after Odell. They are craving a superstar. And who is Odell Beckham's best friend?
Jarvis Landry. I don't know. We'll see.
They're brothers.
They're going to have to give up a lot for Odell, and I just don't know if they'll part with him. Part with whatever it's going to take.
I'm telling you right now, I think if the price is right, they go ahead. And the reason I say that is I just think the Giants know they need to go youth. And don't get me wrong, Odell's not old, but Odell has brought so many headaches to that locker room. And you want that message in your locker room when you're bringing in all these young guys for him to be kind of the face. Or you want a work ethic like Saquon preaching.
Oh, God. Shut up about Saquon, you lover. All right. So, Trey Flowers, I think we're both thinking he's potentially going to be going to the Browns. But one of the team that I think is a put in your back pocket is going to be the Colts. Because they still need defense, and a D lineman is going to be good for them. So Frank Clark is the next one up. He's an edge rusher. I think he is. He's not 100% there, but he is young and he's going to be good. He's still going to be good. So I think he actually will just stay Colts.
Yep, I agree.
They have the money and they've invested them.
Yep. Who else we got?
Nick Foles. I know you've loved him for the longest time. The rumor that everybody's hearing is that he's going to be going to the Jags to either start or back up Bortles. I don't know why they would.
How can you be the biggest free agent quarterback and be backing up Blake Bortles? What kind of terrible market is that?
Maybe he won't back him up. He'll start, but the issue is if he sucks, he's going to be backing him up. Like who knows? But that's what I'm saying. Is like it'd be dumb for them to go after him if they're going to most likely be going to the draft soon.
If you want my honest opinion, I'm shocked that Flacco didn't end up on Jacksonville. I'm a Bronco fan, obviously, and maybe even Denver reaches out and offers Case Keenum to Jacksonville for just like a 7th round pick or something. Honestly, Denver might be just trying to. Keenum's not happy there now that they're bringing in Flacco. And I don't blame him either. But I've also heard. Now this is deep in the internet, but I have heard, honestly, is that the Vikings were very upset with how Kirk Cousins played last year. And I think, how could you not be after what they gave him? So could you see this possibly happening? Just stick with me for a second.
No.
Could you see Kirk Cousins being traded to Jacksonville and Case Keenum being traded to Minnesota, back to Minnesota for what? I mean, Case Keenum wouldn't take much from Denver. John Elway came out and said he wants to keep Keenum as the backup. But Keenum's not going to want to be a backup. And if Keenum could go back to Minnesota, he would be super happy. But the thing is could you see Minnesota saying, you know what? It didn't work with Cousins. Do you see that as a possibility to already happen with them? Or do you think, no, it's still too early. They're going to stick with it.
After 1 year? No, I mean, unless,
How far were they from the Super Bowl the year before with Keenum? This is what
But you let me finish, sir. Nobody is ever off the table on any team if a blow it out of the water offer is sent out. Which the Jags what pick do they have in the draft? They are number 7. So say 7th rounder to pick up Keenum as a backup. And then the Jags offer a 1st and something for Cousins. Yes, we'll take it. Because for one, it's going to free up space. 2, ta-da.
But that's what I was getting ready to say. Even if the offer isn't fantastic, sometimes, and you know this from playing, and I understand it's just fantasy football, but I know you're in keeper leagues, and sometimes it's about opening that space. And do Minnesota, just stick with me for a second, do you think that they know if they get rid of Kirk Cousins, send him to Jacksonville, let's just say for a 3rd round pick, a 5th round pick, whatever, they dump him, and they know they can get Keenum, and they go get Keenum for that 5th round pick they just traded, and basically they just have their old quarterback. It's a wash, but all that money is now open. Jacksonville has to worry about Kirk Cousins' contract.
Not all of them. I mean, they have to cover a lot of money. They have a lot of dead cap still. But it will free up money. The Jags would have to pay off the rest of his guaranteed contract, which is just so stupid. But but I just don't see it happening. I don't see the Jags willing to do that. With the 7th pick in the draft, they can pick up the kid, Dwayne Haskins, out of Ohio State. Maybe even Kyler Murray if he's there. They'll have the world is their oyster at that pick.
Speaking of Kyler Murray, what are you expecting of him in the NFL?
Kyler the Kryler, the guy who apparently is not a fan of losing and will not shake.
Did you guys see the tears coming down from that Texas? Do you guys see it?
All I'm going to say is he was not willing to shake Sam Ehlinger's hand after he lost in the Cotton Bowl. But then he was gloating and doing the whole horns down thing and all that after the Big 12 championship. The dude can't take it like Sam Ehlinger called him a pussy. Here's what it is. The dude's afraid to get a hit. I say, one time he takes a serious hit, he's going to be like, whoops.
So you don't see an NFL career out of him?
He is, 180 what?
They measured him today at the combine. He measured in at 5'10".
5'10" and like 1/8.
And 1/8, but he weighed in at 208.
Doesn't look it. But still,
I'm not saying he doesn't.
208.
But the NFL combine does not mess around when it comes to weight.
I know. I'm assuming 10 pounds is in his big ass head, for one. But
you hate him.
Oh yeah, I mean, no Texas fan likes him. The kid's a punk. But yeah, he can throw a ball. I'll give him credit. He can throw a ball.
You know who?
But he should keep throwing baseballs.
But I was about to say, who is most upset about Kyler Murray? And that's the Oakland A's, who signed him to a baseball contract, and he told them, "I'm only going to play 1 year of football, and then I guarantee you." I will come and play for you guys.
They allowed him, and
they allowed him. They didn't have to allow him. They allowed him, and now he's saying, "I'm going to the NFL."
They didn't think he was going to have a Heisman season and all that. They were hedging the bets on themselves because they knew he wasn't going to sign if they weren't going to let him play one more season as the starter. And now they have to eat that. I mean, he has to pay them back. I think the $10 million or $20 million, whatever. Which will be fine. He'll cover that easily. But I'm like, you're still going to be kind of screwed. They lost that pick. That's it.
It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up, honestly, because you're hearing seriously. I'm hearing first pick to Arizona, even. I'm hearing Arizona might get rid of Rosen and bring in Kyler Murray. I'm hearing Arizona might just deal off the first pick for tons of future first-round picks. Or, for instance, maybe trade him to Oakland for all 3 of their first-round picks if they want to move on from Derek Anderson or whatever.
Just Carr.
Yeah, who'd I say?
Anderson.
Good.
Going old school Anderson. There, man.
Oh, Derek Anderson. Nobody wants D nice. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Yeah, Derek Carr. But it is going to be interesting where he ends up because you're hearing as early as 1 to as late as 7 to 10th. I'm a Bronco fan, and some people are saying Denver is either going to be taking him at 10 or the dude out of Ohio State at 10. And it's just like, or Drew Lock, I'm hearing even for Denver.
I don't think either of them are going to last past 10 or 2-10, I should say. Someone will either trade up or he's going to be the Cardinals are probably potentially going to go quarterback. If they trade it away,
I'll just make you a guarantee. If Denver gets a quarterback at all due to trade or anything in the draft, make sure you don't touch him in fantasy because he will be garbage. Denver has proven, John Elway has proven he has no clue what he's doing when it comes to getting a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I'm ecstatic for Flacco, which is saying a whole heck of a lot. But just the quarterbacks that we have had there in Denver have been terrible, have been scary bad, which I don't enjoy. I enjoy winning football. But let's go ahead and bring in Trevor Siemian. Let's go get Brock Osweiler. Let's go get Brock Osweiler again. Let's go get
thanks Case for taking Paxton Lynch instead of Jerry drafting him. Thank you, Broncos.
Thank you, Broncos.
Yeah, buddy.
Didn't Mahomes come out of that same draft?
Yeah. That who?
Mahomes?
No.
Was that not the same draft? Because I remember, I think the Chiefs were really wanting Paxton Lynch. I can't remember if that was the same draft or not. I think you're right. I don't think it was. But Mahomes has only been there, 2 years?
Paxton, 2016. I don't know.
Mahomes, I think, was 2017. I could be wrong.
He was drafted in 2017, yeah.
So Mahomes was a year later.
Yeah.
Way to go, Denver. Couldn't wait one more year and just take Patrick Mahomes. Possibly be in the Super Bowl. No
probably.
Big deal.
I'd say probably.
But I think that's going to wrap it up for right now. But we're going to be coming back with part 2s, part 3s. Let us know down in the comments what you think. We're going to, like I said, keep coming back with more and more content with the football season about to start. I know this was really, really long. I'm sure most of y'all didn't make it this far. But if you did, we really do appreciate it. Just share a like to definitely let us know, hey, we made it that far. Definitely leave us some comments with what you feel throughout this video. Some big free agents that you think are going somewhere, or even just drop a name in the comments of guys that in future videos you want us to cover or talk about, where we think they're going to end up, or whether we think they're going to be franchised, or even guys that might not be free agents this year, but down the road, there's guys upcoming to be a free agent, or do we see any big trades happening between this team or this team? Just let us know in the comments, and whatever you guys list in the comments, we'll try our best to get to in the part 2. Like I said, we do appreciate you guys watching this long, and let us know down in the bottom, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Expect a new video out shortly after free agency begins.
For sure. Definitely for sure. All right. Y'all take it easy.